Tricks in.
Alright, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another one of our guides. We finished up T guide, so if you guys want to see that for yourselves with the LPDU strats, you can go ahead and check that out. So now we're going to start Dragon Song Phase 1, and these will, again, they will all be LPDU strats, which is the European Light Data Center. So if you're on EU, you're going to be doing these strats mostly. It's a Discord server, fantastic Discord server with a fantastic community. Feel free to join it, down description below. Everyone pretty much do these strats in PF, so if you want to PF ultimates or prog ultimates, or just do strats with your static, this is a good place to start. So we'll start with P1. Let's see how it goes. So this will be showing the toolbox, and then I'm going to show in-game footage of me showing how I do it, basically. So we're going to go step by step. Let's get it started. Alright, so let's get this started. So there's going to be two bosses at the beginning, one on the left, one on the right. The main tank is going to take a Delfel, which is on the left, and the off tank is going to take Grenal, which is on the right, so that's the warrior. And basically, what you're going to do is you're going to have the entire group basically focus at Delfel for this first part, okay? So this is how it looks like. You'll have the tanks basically facing both of them north. There's going to be a raid wide happening here, so make sure to shield, mitigate, all that good stuff. And right here, there's going to be a tether. So what you're going to do here is the off tank is going to basically take this tether, and they're going to face it north. The Dark Knight here will go south with the group and basically stack. The Dark Knight doesn't actually stand here where it shows in the LPDU toolbox, and everyone doing LPDU, the tank always goes with a group because there's going to be a stack marker going off right here, which the whole party will take. And remember that there's going to be a donut AoE in the beginning. It's called Empty Dimension, and Grenal will cast it. When it's Empty Dimension, it means under his feet is going to be empty. So think of it like that as a way to remember. Empty Dimension, when he casts it, means under his feet is empty. Full Dimension, when he casts that later on, just letting you guys know about it now, Full Dimension is pretty much where under his feet is full. So in this, it's always, in the beginning, it's always going to be Empty Dimension, so you can safely stand here every single time. After this, you're going to have people have this prey marker above 4 players' heads. Now, it's important to keep in mind here that this is completely random. 4 random people are going to get this, and they're going to basically place each one on A, B, C, and D markers. You're going to place them north first. There is no priority system on who goes where, so what you're going to do is you're going to loosely spread out and claim a spot. Once you claim that spot, hold that spot. This is a way to make sure that you tell people like, hey, I'm not going to move for you. Another thing you can do is pre-move to a marker in case you actually get it, and then you can just walk into it. I will show this in the in-game POV as well, but I'll go ahead and show how this works. So here you go. You basically place it like this. Now you cannot stay close to the boss because the line AoE is very wide. It will hit the other person and pretty much kill them instantly, and it's no good, no bueno. So you're gonna want to go out a bit. And in the markers, you'll get a feel of just how far it is when I show you in-game POV. You're going to have the entire south people, the people who didn't get a marker, they're going to be south. And there's going to be like a stack hit where 4 people need to be directly stacked together like so. So this is how it's going to go. Just like that. The cone goes off, the line's AoE, and you can kind of get a feel of how wide it is. So if you were to be in melee range doing stuff, you're going to kill your partner. That's why you need to go out. Okay? So that's it. Next, the 4 people that didn't get the marker, basically they will get it now, and they need to go on the southern markers. While the north people, they're basically going to stay north and take the stack, because now they're going to be the ones taking it. Alright, just like so. Remember that when it shoots out, these line AoEs, there's going to be a, as you can see right here, there's these kind of ghostly, smoke cloudy thing going on here on each one on the very edges of the arena. This is very important because when it shoots out, it basically lands it here, where you were standing. So it's important where you stand. You stand on these markers and get these placed here. What happens is if you get close to these, it will kind of zap you and you will instantly die. It's a pretty much instant death. So that's why it's important to place these. And you can see here, the south people, when they shoot out, now they're placed here. All right, let's go in game and show you how this looks. Okay, so here it is in game. As you can see, you can stand right on this line here. There's this line that goes like this. This is the maximum you can stand without pulling the boss instantly. So the tanks will, use their range attack and pull their bosses, and this is how it's gonna look, right? You're gonna, if you're a DPS, you're gonna obviously, everyone's gonna be stacked south, tanks are facing north. Holiest of holy is the raid wide, so there it goes. And now the tether is gonna spawn, and basically the person who's off tank is gonna be taking that. And then as you can see, the tank moved with us here in the group, and there's the donut AoE, and basically the tank will just invuln and literally eat the whole thing. And as you saw right there, I'm gonna go back a bit here, you can see the stack right here, so make sure to mitigate that, shield up, use whatever resources you have to stay alive here. Next up, you'll see here, is I move to one of the north markers. I kind of pre-position, as you can see here. So I'm pre-positioned on beta, and I'm just staying there saying like, hey, if I get it, I'm gonna move to beta. And as you can see here, I hold my position. I'm telling everybody like, hey, I'm about to go here, so don't come near me. So this is a good way to make sure that you get to your markers without, screwing things up for everybody. And there you go, you just place that like that, and then the group stacks here. Now it's South's turn to do the exact same thing. Go to the markers, boom, shoots the laser, and just like that. All right, let's go over the next part. Okay, so the next part here, it's gonna be like so. So Adelpha is gonna jump to a cardinal, and basically he'll become untargetable, right? So the group will simply position opposite side of Adelpha, right? And at towards like Grenad's hitbox, and you need to pop arm's length here, okay? So wherever Adelpha spawns, whichever cardinal, you make sure you're opposite of him, right? Next up, he's gonna start dashing in one direction, either his left or his right. So Adelpha, in this example with the toolbox, he dashes towards the northern side. Whichever side Adelpha dashes to, make sure you run to that side. So if he dashes like so on the very beginning, you see the whole group moves on this part. There's a safe spot right here in every intercardinal, which I will show in game exactly where the safe spot is, but they are like a triangle shape, and that will be considered the safe spot, okay? So here we go. He dashes, and then he dashes straight across like this. As the tank, make sure this is important. For the tank, after this second balls disappear, because he's gonna dash, and then these AoEs are gonna go off, then he's gonna dash here, these AoEs are gonna go off, the tank will then run through, so this is where the main tank ends up, away from the group, and they need to basically bait a Delphel landing on them, and they invul. So right here, boom, a Delphel lands, while the whole party is basically here and they are safe. All right, that's pretty much this part. I'm gonna show this in game now. Okay, so here we go in game. As you can see, I spot, my first step is spotting where Adelphel is. So he's literally in front of me right now. I'll go back a bit just to make that clear. As you can see, he's standing right there. So we stand opposite of him, and then we have to use knockback. This cast bar, Faith Unmoving, it comes from Grenade. This is basically the knockback. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna arm's length this immediately. You don't wanna get knocked back into those ghostly things that I was talking about earlier. You don't wanna get knocked back, you don't wanna get zapped by these, so just arm's length, it's the safest way to go. Next up, you're gonna see where he dashes, so as you can see here, position myself like so, and then I see he dashed here. So I'm gonna go on here. This is the safe spot, by the way, and I'm gonna showcase exactly what it looks like, right? So here's how it looks like. This, you'll see like this triangle shape. This is in every intercardinal of the arena. So whichever side he ends up dashing on, you're gonna be at the very pinpoint of that triangle, and it is guaranteed safety. You have to be right on it. So if he dashes left, you're safe. If he dashes right, you're safe. Every intercardinal has one. So you just, everyone runs there. Everyone runs there. And as you can see here, the middle orbs just popped. So the tank right? He's gonna run across, he's gonna use invuln, and bam, there it is. There's the jump of Adelphel jumping on the main tank, as you can see. Now, what happens if the main tank happens to be in this group? Well, if he happens to be here, you're all gonna get knocked back and you're fucking dead. It is what it is. So you wanna avoid this kind of thing, so make sure as main tank, you know, you wait for the middle AoE and then run through, and just like that, okay? Now, next mechanic here is gonna be PlayStation. We're gonna talk about it step by step, but very importantly here, and I need to actually explain this, this is gonna be Adelphel casting, he'll kind of like hold his sword and shield like this, and he'll be casting. So you'll know if you're a main tank that this is your first interrupt. So as you can see here, you have to interrupt this. What this cast does is it heals. And you don't want to heal because you'll never kill this fight, basically. And just to be clear on this, the cast bar is called Holiest Hallowing. It will blink red that you need to interrupt it, basically. Okay, so it needs to be interrupted or it's basically over. Then it's going to be PlayStation, okay? So in this part, so random people are going to get basically X, triangle, square, or circle, okay? And there's always going to be 2 of each, okay? So the tank positions will always be, if you have an X as a tank, you go north. If you have a square as a tank, you go northeast. If you're DPS, you're just going to go west side and see what you get and position accordingly, okay? So triangle, circle, and then square. And then basically the idea is you need to be opposite side of your partner that has the same symbol as you. So in this example, you know, if this healer is triangle, DPS is triangle. Now, healer will always get triangle or X, right? Tank will always be X or square. They cannot be anything else. Okay, it's not completely just random. They can only get these. So for example, a healer and a tank can never get circle. So DPS will always get circle. And then you're basically gonna get knocked back from these positions. The circle one is, you have to flex it. So you can't just be like, oh hey, how do we prioritize who goes east and west? There basically is no priority. This is just a get good and adjust mechanic. So if you get circle, just make sure you position east and west. This is basically how the macro looks like. And I will be linking this toolbox, of course, in the description below. As you can see here, you can pretty much copy paste this and use it as a macro. It's very, very good for prog and it will help your team get through. Get into the habit of pre-positioning here with DPS west side, tanks north side, and healers south side. This will help you get a bit more consistent and just be immediately where you have to be without panicking or anything like that. Okay, and right after that, you will basically get knocked back, and you want to take this knockback, and you will be tethered. You are basically tethered to the opposite partner of you, who has the same symbol as you, of course. So essentially, as you can see here, let's take an example for Circle, Ninja, and Dragoon. When they get knocked back, they need to walk out and stretch that thing fully out so that it breaks. And there's going to be an AoE landing on top of each player. So this is how it's done. Reminder that right after PlayStation, there's going to be an interrupt that you need to do. So the physical range DPS will be interrupting that. And right here, the boss will either cast, Grenat will be casting either in or out. Empty, like I said, the best way to remember is if it's casting empty dimension, it means under his feet is empty, so you go in. If he casts full dimension, under his feet is full, so you want to be away from him. So you have to go out. Finally, there's going to be one more that you need to interrupt here, and the final tank that didn't interrupt the first one will basically interrupt this. So the off tank will make sure to interrupt the last one. Now, we're going to show this in game. All right, so here's how it looks in game for PlayStation. So right here, after the interrupt happened, the first interrupt, we are going to get positioned. So I have square. So square as a DPS, I position southwest. And we never go northeast because that's the spot for tanks, all right? Like we said, south and southeast is healers, north and northeast are tanks. The rest is DPS. So as a DPS, I position southwest. I get knocked back, and as you can see, I stretch it out. I walk out and make sure that it's gone, and now it's gone, and then I go back to the boss and I start hitting. Here's going to be Holiest Hallowing. As you can see right here, he's casting Holiest Hallowing, and then this gets interrupted by the physical range DPS. So that's that done. And now I'm gonna move the boss to the center. And here, you're basically gonna wanna DPS them both and make them drop, basically kill them at the same health percentage, all right? In this example here, Grenal casted Empty Dimension. You can see here, and I'm sorry, my Twitch chat is covering this enmity list here, but you can see it's called Empty Dimension. So this is how you know without having to select the target. Just look at the enemy list, see, oh, he's casting Empty Dimension. Okay, so under his feet is gonna be empty. So we're gonna stay inside. And make sure here to just equal their health percentages out. And there's gonna be one more final interrupt right here. Holiest Howling, boom, instantly interrupted. And then you basically want to kill them both at the same time, like we do here. Next up is the final part of Phase 1, which I'll go over now. Okay, so here's how it goes. So all players are basically gonna get imprisoned in the circle, right? So basically the way it works is the two closest players to Charterbird will get cleaves. And this cleaves need to be baited based on rolls. So firstly, the healers will bait it, then the melees, then the ranged, then the tank. So it's healer, melee, ranged, tank. Okay, so the first step is healers going in. Now this is important to remember because you're gonna later on in the phase of Dragon Song, you're basically gonna be doing this as well. It's the exact same thing. So might as well get in the muscle memory of going with healer, melee, ranged, tank. It will be crucial in Phase 4. So here are the steps. Party basically stacks middle. Healers are gonna bait this Protean because they're the closest to Charterbird. And basically, they're gonna move this side. Next, it's melees. Melees go in. So after they bait this, they're gonna move here and they're basically gonna stack together until their debuff runs out. And I will be showing you the debuff when I go in game POV. But basically, it's like a sword debuff and it's like 5 seconds. And when it fully expires, you want to immediately move. What it does is basically when the debuff expires, it's gonna plant like landmines under your feet. And obviously you don't want this landmine anywhere near other people. So that's why you stay here for a bit until the debuff runs out and then go back to the group, okay? So there we go. There's the landmines, poop them out. Now melees take the bait. Melees are then gonna go the other side where this thing wasn't. So in this case, when the healer goes here, the melees will go here. And they're gonna do the same thing. They're gonna poop that landmine, wait till the debuff runs out, they're gonna run back to the group. Next up, the ranged DPS are baiting, and they're gonna go where the healers were, because now there's no landmine, so they bait this, they go here, boom. And now they're gonna do the same thing, poop the landmine, and then they're gonna walk back to the group once it's done. Tanks finally do their last one, and then they're gonna just walk here, and that's that done. So once all these sets are gone now, so Charbert has to be below 30% HP. He will cast one more raid wide, and then the face changes into what is known as Thornton. So this is crucial. Make sure you do a lot of damage here. This is basically your window for DPS. Use your evens, all that. And then finally, after you poop the AoE here, you're just gonna do DPS, and that's it. The phase 1 is over. So I'm gonna showcase in-game POV how this looks. All right, so here's the in-game POV. As you can see, the healers are currently positioned to bait the Proteans coming from the boss. And you don't exactly have to stand like the toolbox says. As you can see, Requiesca and Vena here, they are just standing like this. But you can do it exactly like toolbox if you want. But yeah, basically, they're gonna bait like this. I'll show you now. There's the bait. It goes off, and then they're basically gonna position themselves on this side. Next up is melee. As you can see, I position myself here. After the Protean happens, I wait. Here's how the debuff looks. It's like a yellow sword-ish thing. And when this thing hits 0 seconds, I will immediately move to the group, okay? So 3, 2, 1, it's over, bang. Now you start moving back to the group, just like so. And meanwhile, during the time we were doing this, the ranged DPS already baited theirs, and they're positioning to get rid of theirs. And now, finally, you'll have the tanks do it, and that's basically GG. It doesn't matter if people die here, by the way, as long as as long as not everyone dies. But as long as it's below 30% health, you're good to go. And that's pretty much the entirety of Phase 1. Next up, we'll be doing the Phase 2 guide for Thornton. I'm doing top at the moment, and because I'm doing top, and I want to get the top kill, all my focus is on that. But I promise I will be doing the Dragon Song guide, all LPDU strats, we'll get it down just like T, and we'll do that. Top is keeping me busy, probably going to keep me busy for a few more weeks. I'm kind of nearing the end on top. I reached P5 and Omega, pretty good. So, yeah. We'll hopefully get the full DSR guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out the LPDU Discord. Join them up if you want to jump in PFs and just get started with Dragon Song. I want to get as many people in an ultimate progression as possible, and I'll do whatever I can in my power to make it as accessible as possible. So this is the best way I can make it accessible for y'all, is check out LPDU, start PFing, get in on those ultimates. They're the best content in the game. Dragon Song is one of the best fights ever. So I hope you guys have a good time with it. Best of luck, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out. Love you guys.